Hello guys, it's Lydia, the lifestyle coach, and so fun to see you here on another live feed. And hello and welcome. And what we are doing here is ending eating disorders using nothing but your brain. And that is overeating, that is binge eating, that is bulimia, that is food obsession, body obsession, thinking about food all day long, the yo-yo dieting, all the mental space that's taken up by that. Any disordered relationship with food can be ended using nothing but your brain. And we have done it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And so glad that you guys are here. And I'm so excited to make some parallels here because this is such a perfect example of what an eating disorder is like and how to escape an eating disorder and the really important element to have in place. So I'm gonna, flesh this out for you guys today. But I was listening or recalling a story from this book called Good to Great by Jim Collins. Awesome book. And he tells a story about the Stockdale paradox. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this down of what the Stockdale paradox is, because I want you guys to really understand that, and then how it really parallels with an eating disorder, because it's such a great example of the exact sort of thing that happens when you're caught in an eating disorder, and also how to escape it and what to do about that. So hi, so fun to see you guys on. Feel free to comment if you've had this experience with the Stockdale, paradox, and how you're relating to that. Feel free to comment questions and hearts and likes and all of that. So fun to see you guys on. Okay, so let's first look at what the Stockdale paradox is. So author Jim Collins in the book Good to Great, he has this example of the paradoxical concept of the Stockdale paradox. So it's named after James Stockdale. He was former vice president candidate, and during the Vietnam War, he was held captive as a prisoner of war over 7 years. So over those 7 years, he survived and he helped other people to survive. And he had some really amazing insight of what it takes to really survive an awful situation like that. Like, we're going to compare it to an eating disorder and see exactly how these things sort of are parallel to each other. But he was one of the highest ranking naval officers at the time. And this is what Stockdale explained. So I want you guys to really pay attention to this, because there's such a clear parallel with those who end their eating disorders and those who stay in their eating disorders for the rest of their lives and continue to see it get worse. He said, "You must never confuse the faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts about your current reality, whatever that might be." So when he was interviewing Stockdale and they were asking, okay, so, with 7 years a prisoner of war, who made it out alive and who didn't? And so they asked him, who didn't make it out? "Oh, that's easy," Stockdale said, "the optimists." And then he's like, "Wait, the optimists? I don't understand. I'm completely confused." So he said, "Yeah, the optimists. The optimists, they were the ones who said, oh, we're going to be out by Christmas." They were the ones who said, "Oh, like Christmas will come and we'll be out and there's no way that we'll still be in here by Christmas." And then Christmas would come and Christmas would go. And then they would say, "Oh, well, we'll definitely be out by Easter. We'll definitely be out of here by Easter." And then Easter would come and Easter would go. And then Thanksgiving, and then it would be Christmas again. And he said, essentially, they died of a broken heart. And so look at the principles here, you guys. Hey guys, oh, so fun to see you on. So love your comments. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. I know that feeling of being desperate and trapped, and yes, thank you. So with, you commenting here, go to, I'm gonna, put this up front here. We'll talk more about the Stockdale paradox, but if you guys are in a place where like you need to end this, like where you are confronting that reality of what's really happening for you, like honor that and be proud of that. That is one part of being done with this. But know that there is help and there is hope. And we have seen people in the most awful circumstances be able to be done, not have an eating disorder anymore. I mean, after a handful of weeks, we know exactly what it takes to be done. And so we'll give you guys a free session to help you with that. You can go to lifewithlydia.com lifewithlydia.com/apply. Again, it's lifewithlydia.com/apply. And Anna, so I would go there right now. And if there's a spot, snag it right away. If there's not, we get a lot of people applying. And there's a waiting list there, and know that we are committed to, getting all of you guys the help that you need. We just have a huge demand. So if you see a spot, snag it, make sure to set that time aside to be fully present for you, or reach out to us if you're not seeing any spots available, and we're going to help you. So thank you guys so much for being here, and just be so proud of yourself for finding this community. And we've had women after, 50 years of searching, and they're just like, I'm so glad that I finally found you. I finally found what worked. So let's talk about how the Stockdale paradox works. So there are a few elements to look at here. The first is that the people who didn't get out were the optimists. Remember that. The ones that gave themselves a timeline of like, oh, there's no way that we'll still be prisoners of war by this date, by Christmas. And they essentially didn't make it out because they died of a broken heart. And then on the other side of it, the paradoxical part of it is that you have to know that you're going to be free. You've got to keep that hope, but then you also have to be real about what is actually happening. So let's look at that. This is so much like an eating disorder, you guys. It's very much like being in prison. You have no idea when you're going to be out or if you will ever be out. This is something that you're literally waking up into this prison every day. You're going to bed in this prison every day. You're faced with it every single day, and there is no escape. It's not like you can stop eating, because that's death. You have to eat to stay alive. It's not like some other substance that's killing you. Like, oh, okay, if you're a heroin addict, just end heroin. Stop doing heroin. I'm not saying that's an easy thing to do. We've certainly seen people use the principles that we teach to actually do that, which is awesome. And now they're not heroin addicts anymore. But this is something where you've got to understand that you can't abstain from food. You have to keep eating for the rest of your life. And if food is a prison and a horror for you, then you are in it every single day in your life, because you can't go that long without eating. And you can go an even shorter amount of time without obsessing about the food and the eating and the fear in it. It is so much like being in a prison, the prison of your own body, the prison of your own mind. When you're stuck in an eating disorder, it is your everyday. But here is what happens. These are the people who don't get out, the optimists. What people don't realize is that this optimism of, oh, we're going to be done at any time. Oh yeah, I'm sure that this won't keep happening, is actually reinforcing this prison, is building that prison around you even stronger. You wake up in the morning with, this will be the day. I'm never going to binge again. It's all going to be different. Yesterday was the last day. Today is a new day. I'm going to eat perfectly. I'm going to stick with my plan. And they give themselves that timeline, just like the optimists did, that were prisoners of war. Oh, I'm sure this won't be, by Christmas we'll be out of here. But when you have an eating disorder, that's every day. Oh, I'm sure that I'm going to be done today. I'm sure yesterday was so horrible. There's no way. Yesterday was an emergency. Yesterday was worse than ever. I'm sure that I'm never going to do that to myself again. So every single day you wake up in this optimism. And then there are these milestones in life. There is no way that I'll have an eating disorder by the time I go to college. I can't imagine being in college and having an eating disorder. No. I'm going to get this figured out. And then it happens. And you're going to college. Oh, there's no way that I'll still have an eating disorder by the time that I graduate. This is something that, young people and teenagers struggle with. There's no way that I'm going to go out into the real world and still have an eating disorder. I'm sure I'm going to have it done by the time I graduate college. And then you graduate college and your eating disorder is worse than ever. Well, I can't be in a marriage and have an eating disorder. I just can't imagine myself being married and having an eating disorder. And then you get married. And then you're hiding your eating disorder from your partner. And you're sneaking around at night and you're staying out and you're purging in public bathrooms and you're trying to sneak food and you're rushing all the kids to bed because you want to be able to be in private and binge, and you're trying not to let anyone hear you. And you still have an eating disorder. There's no way that I'll have an eating disorder and have children. In fact, a lot of us have sort of a break Oh, I think we froze for a second, you guys. All right, are we back? A lot of us might have a break when we're pregnant. Oh, I'm done. Oh, my eating disorder is gone. And then as soon as you have the baby, it comes back worse than ever. And you could never imagine yourself. There's no way that you'd still have an eating disorder once you have kids. And then you have kids and an eating disorder. And then every single year, oh, there's no way. Oh gosh, the holidays were so awful. I absolutely ruined the holidays with binging and obsessing, and that was horrible. That optimism is the new year of like, and this will be the year that I'm going to be done. And for sure, by next Christmas, I'm not going to do this again. And then you do. And you can't imagine yourself ever being 300 pounds. And you can't imagine yourself dealing with this on your 40th birthday. And that optimism is so strong that it is heartbreaking when you have your 40th birthday and you realize that now you've had an eating disorder for 20 years, for half of your life. And it comes back around when you see that number on the scale that you never thought that you would be. You never ever thought that you would be. And that optimism is so strong that those are the people who don't get out, the ones who their hope wears away because they keep on saying this will be the thing. The optimists don't make it. Optimism doesn't keep the reality of what's happening to happen. It doesn't keep the consequences from happening. What it does is it reinforces this cycle even stronger. The optimism actually makes your eating disorder worse. The other element that happens with this paradox, you guys, is that the optimism also, you have that with the things that you're trying, right? Oh, I'm sure that the diet is going to work this time. Remember that one time that it worked, and you're not forgetting that it didn't work. That's why you're having to go back on a diet again. But you just have this idea of like, oh, this will be the time. You know, we talk to people all the time where we hear, oh, you know what? I just joined Weight Watchers and I know that this is going to be the thing. How many times have you joined Weight Watchers? Well, I've joined, this is the 10th time, but things are different this time. It's the optimism of, oh, it's going to be different this time. Now I'm really motivated. Now I'm really ready. And it's heartbreaking when the same thing happens again. And you have that optimism and hope for a little while, and then your eating disorder is worse than ever. Those are the people who die of a broken heart. Those are the people who lose their hope because you keep on making these declarations and acting in this way. And I've been there. This held me back for years, you guys. Years where I could have been done with my eating disorder. And I went into the place of like, oh, but I just need to try harder. I just need to align with this better. I just need to have a better mindset about the thing that, well, yeah, it didn't work before, but it's going to work this time. And this will be the very last day. Years of life wasted with that. And the reality is that no matter how optimistic you are, it doesn't keep the reality of what's happening. So like with purging, you know, there's so much of this like, oh, well, you know, I'm not really bulimic. I only purge every once in a while, right? It's like, oh, well, that's only when it's like really, really bad. Like it's the optimism of like, oh, it's better. Oh, I don't purge nearly as much as I used to. That not nearly as much as I used to is another piece of this optimism that will keep you in the cycle. But the reality is that with binging and purging, you can die at any time, instant death from purging. And you know how most of the women wake up the day that they die from purging and leave their families and their kids behind and get found dead in a public restroom. They were optimistic that day. They woke up knowing, I'm not going to do it today. There's no way that I put my life in danger. Yesterday was my last day, until you don't get any more days. So here's what you do. Here is how to look at the Stockdale paradox and exactly how this works. And if you've been in the cycle of optimism that's reinforced this habit for you, just like Stockdale said, you have to have a knowing and a hope that you will prevail and you will be done, but be able to look at the absolute brutal reality of what is happening right now. And this is such, I mean, when I was reminded of the story, I'm like, this is exactly how it works with ending an eating disorder, because as we've seen hundreds and hundreds of women get free, we've really seen this show up in the people who are done with their eating disorders now. They all had hope and certainty. They all had this fire and this knowing of like, yes, I know that I am going to be done, but They were so clear about facing the reality of what wasn't working and what was happening. So one of our grads, I'll give you guys an example. She said, when she decided to get free and get the help that she needed to be done all the way, she said, I missed my entire children's childhoods obsessing about food, and I will not do that to my grandchildren. She was clear about the brutal reality of, I missed my entire childhood of my children. Like, I missed their lives. She wasn't softening that. She wasn't saying, but. She wasn't saying, oh, but things are better than they used to be. She wasn't saying that, oh, but I'm sure that, the thing that I'm doing now is going to work. She really faced that reality, but she had that fire of like, I will not do this to my grandchildren. I will find a way. And that's exactly why she came to us, because she knew she had to do something different to fix this all the way. And now she's free and she's done after 25 years of being a binge eater. So you guys have probably seen our interview with Kelly. It's the same sort of Stockdale paradox here. It's the reality of what's happening, but still with the fire of I will be done. So Kelly said, after 29 years of trying this on my own, I know that what I'm doing isn't working. And she said, so I know that I have to get your help to be done with this or I'm going to die a binge eater. She's facing the reality of what's happening, but she's still doing what needs to happen to end this. And we spend so long trying to not think about the reality of what's really happening that our brains actually get used to numbing and hiding it from us. Our brains get in a chronic pattern of this optimism, of essentially lying to ourselves. In fact, we go to such lengths to not think about how bad things have gotten and how long it's been and how awful we feel that we end up eating and binging to numb out from how awful our binging is. Do you see how rapid the cycle gets worse once you start numbing from your problems by doing more of the same problems? That is why we are so committed, you guys. That is why we are so committed to being here and helping you to be absolutely done, because we are certain that it can be. We've seen this hundreds and hundreds of times. I've seen this in my own life, but we will be honest with you the whole time of what it actually takes. That is why we are willing to provide you guys with one free breakthrough session so that you can get the help that you need to be done with this. That breakthrough is us willing to take that time with you so that you can have the support to really see the clarity of what's actually happening. It is a specific process to get that foundation of freedom. The foundation of freedom is being able to have clarity without all of the ways that your mind numbs and softens and covers it up, but be able to see the clarity of what's actually happening for you. And with that foundation of freedom, once you see it, you can fix it. And if we can help you, we will show you exactly how to end this in your own life. Or if there's somebody else who's going to serve you better, then we'll know where to direct you from there. But either way, the foundation of freedom is you have to have that clarity first. That's exactly what we're talking about with that Stockdale paradox, is the certainty and the hope of like, yes, I will be done. But then we're here to help you with the clarity of what's actually happening right now so that you can fix it. And if you are committed to ending this for you, then you can go to lifewithlydia.com/apply and you can book a free breakthrough session with our team. And we are going to help you to get that foundation of freedom so that once you see exactly, and once we both together know exactly what's happening, then we know exactly how to help you. But that reality and that clarity comes first. So again, that's lifewithlydia.com/apply. And it's so fun to see you guys here. Thank you for being on today. And just such a fun thing to go over with the Stockdale paradox of really seeing those parallels. Like we see this so often with the women who truly get free. And here's the thing, is that it comes down to a choice. Comes down to a choice. It's a simple decision. Because it's not like you are an optimist about this. It's that you've reinforced being an optimist about this. But when you really align with that Stockdale paradox of having the fire of knowing you're going to be done, but then willing to look at what's happening and do what it takes to end this, that's when you can be free. And that is a choice 100% of the time. And you can choose that, but you're not alone in it. And that's why we're here to help you. So again, this is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, signing off. Mwah. Bye, guys.